Death penalty for 8 Indians in Qatar. The Indian government is going to contest the death penalty, of course, and these are ex-Navy officials who had been charged with spying. For more on this, I'm joined by my colleague Vishnu Shom. Vishnu, first of all, for the benefit of our viewers, if you could just explain the background and the significance of this case.
Well, Tarima, this is an extremely unfortunate case. A lot of these Navy officers had very senior appointments in the Indian Navy. They were all commanders or in fact captains in the Indian Navy. One was a sailor. They were working for the Qatari Navy as part of a training program. But in August 2022, they were arrested on charges of spying. They were held for espionage in Qatar, apparently spying on the behest of the Israeli government. Some reports suggest that they were working or had knowledge of a submarine project in Qatar, which was for mini submarines, and news of that was passed to Israeli authorities. Apparently, there is electronic evidence to suggest that they are involved. However, there are some reports now in India coming in that there is a real apprehension that these officers were set up and that there could be a hand of Pakistani intelligence in this. Now, the government of India, Tanima, has worked very hard over the last couple of years to try and ensure the release of these officers and that one sailor, but evidently to no avail.
Right. Vishnu, also, if you could just tell our viewers what have been the efforts which have been made by the Indian government over the months that these 8 Indian nationals had in fact been held in jail.
Well, the government of India has had sought consular access for these Indian sailors and the sailor and the 7 officers. They were given that somewhat belatedly. They have provided them legal assistance. The government of India has been speaking to officials in the Qatar government at fairly high levels. But as I understand it, the actual details of the case itself have not been accessible by the government of India because it's classified. It concerns military details. So that has not been unlocked. And therefore, in as much as government of India would like to try and get these men out, there may be a dearth of information. But the fact that you've got a court in Qatar which has actually sentenced them to death is a very, very serious development indeed. Ambassador Prabhu Dayal joins us at this stage. Thank you very much, sir, for speaking to us. Your initial reactions or thoughts on, these 8 Indians being sentenced to death in Qatar.
Well, Vishnu, I am deeply shocked to hear this news that the court in Qatar has handed down the death penalty to 8 former Indian Navy personnel who were detained in Qatar for over a year. Now, these people had been working for a Qatari company, and that company was engaged in the training of military personnel of Qatar. Now, they have been accused of spying, but what the charges have been have not been made known whatsoever. So one is deeply concerned about this matter. India must take up this whole issue with the government of Qatar and first of all get them to stop this sentence, put a break on it, and then get them released. I'm sure that the charges against these people are fabricated, and that these are highly decorated officers of the Indian Navy, and some of them have commanded major Indian warships. So we must do everything possible to get Qatar to stop what it's doing.
Do you believe that this could be some sort of an intelligence operation triggered by the ISI?
I wouldn't be surprised because, Pakistan has very close relations with Qatar. The ISI and the Qatari intelligence authorities work together, and on a number of instances, of course, for instance, in the context of the Taliban, Pakistan was working very, very closely with Qatar, and that means that the intelligence authorities of both sides are very, very closely involved with each other's networks. So I wouldn't be surprised at all if there's a Pakistani hand in this, and the ISI has pulled out some sort of a trick which has landed these people in trouble. But nonetheless, we should do everything possible to stop Qatar from executing these people because this is happening in a very, very unjust manner to highly decorated Indian officers.
You know, Ambassador Dayal, one of the problems for India in this case is that a lot of the details have not been unlocked. It's been deemed to be classified by Qatari officials, and therefore, while Indian diplomatic efforts have been to get the release of these men, they are working in a sense without full knowledge of what the allegations are. So, therefore, it is complicated by that.
Yes, of course. The fact that the charges have not really been made known, and that these people were held in solitary confinement for long spells, certainly complicates the whole matter, and it clouds the whole issue in a whole lot of suspicion. You know, there was an Indian journalist who was covering this case, and the Qataris asked him to leave the country because he was likely to uncover some things which would have been uncomfortable to them. So the important thing is that the government of India must do everything possible, because I think there would be a lot of unhappiness in India if these 8 highly decorated Indian Navy officers are executed.
All right, Ambassador Dayal, thank you very much for joining us.